Hello! My name is Evie and this is Overwatch Everyday, the series where I play 1 to 5 ranked games each day, explaining my thought process that gets me up to champ on all roles throughout the videos. In today's video, we start off by playing some Ana on parry, so really talking about how we want to be positioning ourselves to be the safest as possible, as well as be able to keep our team alive and make the enemy team as uncomfortable as they can be while walking us down. Later in the video, we end up playing some Wuyang and finishing off with some Kiriko. The Wuyang game especially was definitely one to watch. We made some great adjustments to turn around a 1-point deficit on control. But with that out of the way, let's get into the video. This brig's kind of clean. I like that blue. Sanctum? Yeah, that's probably it. And we get our game. I couldn't even see what the other epic was. Oh well. Alright, Shambali, Icon Wall, Jib. I'm going to turn down my music a little bit. Bro, there's no way. This is like the second time, or is this the second video in a row that I picked random on support and it just gave me Pariso. That's really funny. All good though. We looking like we're gonna have a Domina, Emre, and a Mercy, meaning that we're gonna be wanting to play in a lot slower, more pokier direction, but we don't actually have that much heals. So probably heroes like Baptiste, Kiriko, Ana, gonna be really strong. Juno could even work, probably. You just probably want something to sort of like keep people up. If you're going to be forcing something that isn't going to be like a big healer here, then you're going to be wanting to think a lot about your own individual plays and how to be finding value from these high grounds, especially. If you're able to sort of lock down the high grounds and use them to be poking aggressively, you can potentially outvalue the consistency you would get with healing, but it's going to be much harder. Played Brig on this map last time? Yeah. I started on Lari and then I had to swap to Brig later to win. I think Baptiste is just by far the right play here. I might try some Ana. We have our Nano Blade. Maybe we can talk about some ult combos. Win to ult combo, win not to ult combo. I think that might be fun. But Bap is definitely the right play here, but anything that can really just sort of pump in some healing. Bap, Kiri, Ana. Not so much Moira. You want consistent healing over a long period of time. As well as if I'm able to get my headshot perk on the second or third point, then it's going to be really deadly and I can just start fragging. Don't know when to tell when Brig is better than Alaris than Wuyang. Brig is going to be pretty good. If your team is already pumping out like decent damage numbers, I want to be getting there. I didn't think that my Domino was holding that far up. So the ball's going to go in, and we're just going to immediately look for a sleep. If I see my Domino get low, I want to put my nade onto it immediately, but their ball's going to have the angle around us. Trying to keep our Mercy alive, but we're going to be in a pretty sticky spot here, so I want to be backing as early as I can, making it as hard as possible to follow up on me being low HP. Their cat goes 1, and our Domino's falling low, so I'm just going to try to keep everybody up who I can, saving my sleep dart in case the ball comes onto me. With their Onion being 1 HP, my Mercy falling low, we're able to trade out onto their cat. Damn, she heals a lot. My Domino's full HP, but their Onion's going to be able to stable. Kind of difficult, but we do have a Brig now, so that's going to be really, really strong into most of their comp here. Their ball is going to have a much harder time playing into Brig. Since we see their cat, we just can throw a few shots into them, but our primary job right now is going to just be finding a way onto, or getting some LOS onto our Domino so we can heal them up. Kind of unfortunate. Everybody's going to jump up and block the nade. All good though. Brig looks for an engage on the high ground. I'm unfortunately not able to help my cast easily here, but we're going to peek out and try our best. We see the Sierra on the high ground. I really want my Brig to get a little more active here. Since they don't have any angles on us, our Brig could definitely just be sort of like stepping up and trying to force out like that Sierra and then dropping to me when they need help, but all good. We're gonna miss our sleep dart, and I want to just be stacking on my brig to make sure that I'm getting the inspire healing. Taking this right side angle because I know the Lucio's inside of us. I want to see if I can get an angle onto it, but as their ball starts coming back, I think I'm gonna be pathing over here. We don't want to be doing too much. Our brig is getting active, so we just want to be ready to like care people when they need it. Mine's come out thinking about getting a nano onto our Domina, but we're just gonna chill for now. We don't really need to do that much. We can throw a few shots onto our soldier, but as soon as our Domina goes crit is when we'll probably be looking for something. Throw a nade onto our Domina and just trying to carry them as much as I can. Unfortunately, not going to be able to stop that cat whatsoever. The Onion walks in, and I think that will be the point lost. All good though. I think that we held it for quite a while. Maybe we could have been swinging a little bit more aggressively, or getting onto the high ground, but it's just generally going to be really hard. Playing on the high ground is going to put us in really scary LOS and really diveable for their ball inside of their soldier, or make us really diveable for their ball inside of their soldier LOS, so it's going to be very likely that we just kind of blow up there. Our Cassie goes down early, but that is a-okay. They're on Roadhog now, so we're going to have a lot of control over their team. Is Ana here. I'm going to be walking up since our Domina's fighting outside here. Raleigh gets popped and Beat gets popped. Because the Beat gets popped, I actually can't step anymore, so I'm going to do my best to heal up our brig. Cat wants to blow me up. Those are Onion. We might be able to live. We just barely. And I don't nade anything even though I'm 1 HP and their hog is up. But I think we'll be chilling. Thinking about how we want to be like trying to retake this is just getting these really wide angles are going to be super important. I think I'm going to be a bit more disciplined with my nades. Since I'm missing them somewhat consistently, I'll be putting making it a little bit easier on myself and just going for ones I know I can hit. Since if I'm not feeling the most mechanically inclined, I just want to make sure that I'm getting the consistent value out of my kit possible. I say as I go for a super greedy nade on Lucio, but it's okay because there's no real threat. I don't need to save my nade or anything, so looking for a play like that is usually pretty fun. We do get our headshot perk. I'm a little bit worried about my brig being on that left side, so I'm just going to keep some tabs on it. See our Reaper fighting that top right, and we want to just find their hog. Looking to nade their hog on walk up here, ideally inside of our Domino LOS, is going to be really strong. Poking our Reaper as much as we can. We hear Lucio fighting our Brigitte. And this nade will double as healing for our Domina and an anti for their unfortunately, we're going to be looking in a pretty scary spot here. Ideally, I want to get wide to make it as safe for me as possible to help our brig touch, but I don't think our brig's going to get the touch here. I can't hit this guy. I used up all my aim in the code earlier. Their soldier pops visor. I'm just gonna be backing up, trying to make it as difficult and making their cat walk as far into us as possible. I think that with our next nano here, trying to make sure, or I might just even nano whoever gets hooked by hog. Our brig is able to block the hook though, which is going to put us in a pretty good spot. Their Onion goes in. I was looking for a nade onto it, but unfortunately I hit our teammate. And the cat ult does end. We're gonna nano our Cassidy here and hit a big nade to clean up most of their DPS. Cat's gonna get onto me. It's a-okay, we're just gonna put the cat down and then we will be stepping up, trying to find some frags onto either this Roadhog or the soldier. And then we are chilling. Our Cassie does go down. They were chased all the way by a hog, but they're able to find the trade onto the hog, which is massive. Our bird's walking up, so we want to walk up a little bit as well, just to make sure that we're putting ourselves in an easier spot to care them. And as their threats start walking back up, as their onion gets a little bit closer, and our hog is looking to find some hooks, we just want to be backing up. I think saving nades for this moment would have been... Oh, my Brig is the best player in the world! I will be dying to this cat, unfortunately. But we do have Nano coming back. It's going to be last fight when we respawn. Our Domino's holding the point the best that they can. Going to find a kill onto the soldier. Which is putting us in a really nice spot. Even if our Domino goes down here, I should be able to just sort of Nano or Reaper later. And we'll win, but my team will be clutching up. Awesome stuff from Boss Man and Blue Dragon Fluid. Roadhog and Cat and Lucy are all on that high ground, but we have nothing to really buffer, so I was going to back up. Oh my god, oh, they don't know. Although Lucio does not know. Roadhog's on the point, and our Brig is looking to fight it, so I'm going to be enabling that the best I can, and then turning around to help the best that I can. Onion does a lot of damage now. Cat will go low, and our Brig is still holding the point. Just kind of a 1v2 against their supports. They're not close to rally, unfortunately, but they are buying a lot of time. As soon as our Reaper and our Domina get onto this point, it's going to be looking really good, especially since they swapped to Winston. As long as we're going to be able to brawl on this point effectively, we will be in a really good spot. Get their soldier 1 HP, and their Onion wants to step onto us here. We get an anti onto their Onion, but unfortunately we will be going down. Our Reaper's coming back soon, so we just want to make sure that we're in a spot to kind of heal our Reaper on the point in a moment. Our Reaper's not stepping the point though, our Brig is, so we're just going to look to carry them as much as possible. He's going to be stepping onto us, so we have to just sort of poke that out, that 1v1, and as long as we're just free shooting on the point, as long as we're just trying to keep up our shooters and our brawlers the best that we can, we're going to be in a pretty good spot for this fight. Our Reaper does not have their fade, so it's going to be a really important person to keep an eye out for in this fight, and we will be holding on third. Definitely kind of sloppy for me, especially the first round, or the first 2 points, I think. First point, I could have maybe stepped onto the high ground to play a little bit more aggressively. But, and second point, I think that maybe I could have, it's just really hard. It's really hard. I think I just wasn't hitting a lot of the shots, or the nades specifically that I needed to hit. I could definitely be more disciplined with my nades, and then find a lot more wins because of that. Thinking about our attack here, we have a Wuyang, Reaper, and Domina. I'll try to play some Wuyang next game. We go Mercy. So I do think Ana's going to be a little bit harder on attack, unless maybe they're on Roadhog. If we have a Genji, then I'm more incentivized to stick the Ana, because if you're ever in a rough spot on attack, just kind of popping Nanoblade is going to be a really, really easy way to sort of win a fight. I mean, Nanoblade, since the dawn of Overwatch, since Ana came out, Nanoblade has just been like one of the staple combos to just sort of play for. I don't think Ana's too hard here to like force, and then that Nanoblade win con is going to give us a little bit of a safety net. So let's try to stick Ana for this game. They're on Bash, or no, that's Emery, or is that Bastion and Emery? Bastion and Emery. So that's going to be a little bit harder for us. So I'm just going to be looking for my nades. Unfortunately, missing early. Trying to keep our Genji up. The main difficulty here is we need to be putting ourselves in a spot that's going to be hard for their Bastion to actually like form onto. Hit a great nade onto their Emery, and they'll fall 1 HP. Unfortunately, we're not able to get too much follow-up. Just want to keep up our Reaper as I go for that play, and now we're going to shift our attention to our Domina.
Lari's on the high ground. Going back to our Reaper. We just want to try to be keeping everyone up that we can. So now shifting our attention back to our Domino. Using my Nano here to just sort of keep them alive. I'm farming it really fast, so I should have another one by the time my Genji has Blade. So I'm just going to be taking this high ground. Winston goes really low. We're fighting that coast side area, and then Winston, even though they're 1 HP, I don't really want to drop. I want to make sure that I'm keeping the Mercy up. It's really hard. I actually just realized that, and it's probably one of the reasons why I've been neglecting my Mercy a little bit, just out of instinct. I can't see the crit that easily, like the little crit marker, because they have a red skin. That's kind of silly. The cart is going through a massive cutscene right now, so we don't necessarily need to push it, but going onto that high ground into that mobile of a comp and that deadly of a comp for us is going to be kind of scary. They are on Sigma now instead of Winston. Like, I just can't see the crit, bro. It doesn't pop out. I'm just gonna be pushing the cart, building my Nano. I'm gonna give it to my Genji. Since I'm playing not in comms, I just want to kind of like prompt my Genji. I'm just spamming my button a little bit, and if I see him here, Lucio's on the cart, and I really don't like that, so I'm just gonna try to clear our space. Lucio will be sleeping. I don't really want to chase that. I want to make sure that nobody dies on this front line. Lucio's going to be on this right side, so we're just going to back up. It's going to be kind of easy for the Sigma to shield us off here, but I think that we will be more than fine. Our Mercy goes down, but that is a-okay. We have 5 minutes to win 2 fights. While it still is very holdable, most escort maps are going to have these really difficult third points to actually push. So making sure they don't get cocky, and still just thinking through your fights, thinking through your plans is going to be really important. Because third point is where magic happens, for defenders at least. The rest of our team is fighting up there, so we're going to just kind of be staring at it like a kid looking at the cookie jar on the top shelf. There's not really much we can do. We can look for that sleep. Any trades as we sort of back up. If their Sigma drops their shield, then we can kill that Lucio, but unfortunately that won't be the case, so we're just going to back up. They use a bunch of ults, we're just slowly farming our Nano boosts. I'm going to take a few quick shots at their Emre before going over my Genji, which will end up actually killing them. Looking for a nade. Since we're down our Genji, I just want to be sort of keeping everybody up as we slowly walk up. They do use the Bastion form, and I don't want to be walking up yet until I hear them actually back up a little bit more. As soon as I see my Genji's fighting over there, it means that the choke is more or less safe for me to actually take. Let's see what's on this left side. I'm going to go try to carry my Mercy the best that I can. Lucio's still behind us, but our main job is just going to be keeping up our Domino on the point. We have our Nano Blade somewhat soon, but I think this is an important fight that we can win. So I'm just going to be nanoing my Domino, shooting because I believe in this opportunity, as well as we had 3 minutes to farm another Nano Blade if things didn't work out. I get booped out into their Emre all, and that's a really good play by the Lucio, but we will just win the 1v1. And that will be closing out this game. Nice. Ending 24-4. We have 11,000 healing. Not terrible, not the greatest either. I think that I could have been playing a little bit more aggressively on defense. Our attack was pretty good though. I'm pretty happy with our attack. Maybe I could have when I hit the sleep on the Lucio. On second point, maybe I could have just gone kill that instead of like looking main, but I just want to make sure, since we had such a crazy advantage, like we were about to just like we were about to cap second, all of our team was just sort of stacked on point. I just want to make sure that nothing would like really happen. Just go to sleep. All right, good night, Grayscale. game to the next game. Why doesn't the leave game button work? That seems strange to me. I might try to... I love the series on YouTube. Thanks. I'm so glad that you enjoy it. Glad you could tune in for the stream too. This is going to be the episode going up tomorrow. And for any of the people watching on YouTube, if you have any sort of live questions for me about why I do things, then I'll be streaming and announcing all of my streams in the Discord server linked in the description. So if you ever just want to like ask some questions or wonder, have a bit more elaboration on why I do some things, then tune into the stream. I'll be answering everything that I can when I don't have things to talk about usually. Ideally, I'd like to play some Wuyang going into this next map. That'd be kind of fun. Yeah, I'll be looking for some Wuyang if it works with the team comp jackpots. Maybe if I'm feeling really frisky, I can try some Wuyang even if it doesn't work for a team comp. I can give it a whirl. I will be having a few streams in the future where I'm just like deadass just one-tricking heroes, because you don't need to hyperflex whatsoever to actually like win games. I actually think that people shouldn't hyperflex, especially if they're still learning the game. I'm just doing it on this series because it will allow me to play a very wide range of heroes. So that I'll be touching on like everybody's hero pools eventually. What kind of comp will I be looking forward to play Wuyang? I want something that will allow me to play a little bit more pokey. Wuyang really likes to just sort of like slowly pump in like a bunch of damage, and usually like take some soft off angles but stay inside of like their LOS. Yo, thanks for the follow, Regime. Did you have a match today, or was that like yesterday? Hope it went well though, bro. But usually like Wuyang has pretty solid heals, but it's not like anything that you can like really solo heal on. If your tank's gonna be taking a bunch of damage, it might feel really rough to actually like hold any space. So I want to be looking for comps that really like kind of want to play a little bit more slowly. I have comps that want to play a bit more slowly and require me to not heal as much, so I can just sort of like pump in damage consistently. What's the difference between flex support and main support, and why are they separate in the first place? Main support and flex support was a term or like categories originally created back in Overwatch 1 in the competitive scene to generalize like sort of heroes, because you would have two supports. You would want to put one of them on like specific types of heroes and then the other one on other ones, and they was created with the idea of like a bunch of overlap on how the heroes actually wanted to play. So the heroes like Ana's and Yada, or other old flex supports, Baptiste, all want to be playing like these sort of like really far back sort of like pokier playstyles. You were going to be pumping in damage, and generally you just want to like aim on these heroes. And main supports were going to be a little bit less mechanically demanding, something a little bit more to sort of like buffer the enemy team, keep everyone else alive, or everyone else on the team up and alive. But now the main support and flex support has morphed a little bit in sort of like their roles, what they do, and how they want to be playing. There's a lot of overlap, and usually I think that there are some new terms trying to be introduced in some parts of the competitive community especially. I just use main support and flex support kind of instinctually because it's kind of how I grew up. I started playing Overwatch 1 and the terms are kind of ingrained in me, so I apologize for that, but you can definitely like refer to supports in sort of like any way. But how I like to see it is flex supports are generally going to be a bit more of like an enabler role, where you're going to have a lot more of those healing numbers. You're going to be able to support a lot of your teammates on the plays. And main supports are going to be generally like or they're gonna like to deny the enemy team a little bit more rather than like enabling your team. So heroes like Brigitte with their like heavy CC, you're going to be marking out a lot of the enemy team's threats. Same with like Lucio. Cat also can be somewhat similar in this role. Mizuki plays a pretty main supporty play style from my experience, but it's generally the terms are very loose. I think one of the more common ways to refer to supports nowadays is like you're going to have like your frontline support and like your laner, and that can sort of change on maps. So heroes are going to be a little bit more comfortable sort of like flanking and sort of playing on lanes. Can be referred to as like a laner. So heroes, like if you have like a primary healer, then your Kiriko can start like flanking, but you would want like your like main healer or like to just heal on main sort of deal. I don't think I explained that the best. Terms are kind of, the terms aren't like that crazy important. Looking at our next game here though, we load into Ilios. This could be a pretty, actually what happens if I try this? What if I just try to like hover Wuyang? Let's see if I can play them here. Dominant and Roadhog band. I like the Roadhog band. That's pretty clear. Awesome. So here we're gonna see a Sierra. I'm gonna just kind of hover Wuyang. And if it's like really bad for my team, then I can swap a little bit later, but I do want to play Wuyang. So I'm gonna show I want to play Wuyang.
You know what they say? Just go with the flow.
We have a Winston. That's going to be pretty fun for us. Winston's going to be able to be going for a lot of dives, and we can be using our mobility and our damage to sort of like soften up people before they jump or on their engage, and we want to be kind of controlling space to allow or give our Winston sort of like options to sort of like kite to and stabilize after their hits. Wondering what my other support's gonna play. I'll try this. With our Reaper and our Winston, we might have a little bit too much difficulty sort of stabilizing. But we'll give it a whirl. So here is Wuyang. I just want to be sort of like pumping in like a lot of damage, and you see the rest of our team is kiting to this left lane, so I'm going to be trying to follow up. I should have had Orb on somebody a lot earlier. I was just sort of thinking about how I could help people out. So the Genji's going to be low. I just want to be putting myself in spots that would allow my Winston to kite. So the rest of my team's going to be going on to this left side, so I'm just going to be dashing over since I'm going to be like our only healer alive right now. I'm just continuing to pump in damage. Maybe I can be going for a bit more aggressive plays. I'm going to get this back in here. Making sure that you're utilizing like your M1s around corners of Wuyang is going to be like really important, because it'll allow you to just have a bunch of uptime and allow you to be super safe. Like they can't do anything to me right now, but I'm able to sort of pump in damage main. I can potentially just sort of break out these shields. My Sierra will go down, but we hit some shots onto their Genji, and that will be able to take him out. I want to be ideally hitting the wave onto my Winston, but the Sigma's able to block it. We don't want to be committing too much onto this angle here. The Ana walks in and we'll be going down, so where I'm going to be taking this lane as they beat, we just want to like super chill. They're going to have most of their other ults as well, as we see there with their noon. We do not have our primal yet, so I'm going to try to keep my Winston alive, but unfortunately it won't be enough. A-okay though, as they just use a bunch of ults. They used Beat, they used Flux, they used High Noon. So they're going to have Dragon Blade. I'm going to be thinking a lot about my Orb and probably using my Bubble to save anyone. who I end up, or who ends up getting looked at by the blade. But our Winston's gonna go down kind of early. Unfortunately, we're not there and ready, so I'm gonna be looking to make a play happen and then potentially using bubble on myself, because we're gonna need like just some sort of opening here as we are down percentage. I definitely could have popped my shift a little bit earlier, and I think Wuyang might be a little bit too hard here. I think it might be like a Kiriko angle to help out my Winston. My Winston pops Primal though. And we are very close to our high noon. My Sierra gets a touch, and I just want to be helping out my Winston the best I can. Taking towards this cage side because it allows me to kite through bubble. Fortunately, our Winston will be going down. As they pop their B, I'm trying to get into a position to help out my Cassidy, finding some damage onto their Genji. And hitting all of my shots into the wall, because I'm the GOAT. It's not Wrecking Ball, which I actually really like. Trying to keep some angles here. My ball or my Cassidy is going to be able to touch. As they start to look at me a little bit more, I'm just going to be backing up, maybe looking for a boop here. And we are going to be able to get it onto the Alicio. Our Sigma will be going down. Sombra swap for our Wrecking Ball. But I think we're going to be okay. Yes, we will. Nice. The carry swap's definitely really good. The ball swap, this is a really good comp for our Wuyang now. We're going to be able to find a lot of our own individual value. We're sort of spamming out this main. We don't need to do too much. Tempted to get double wave just for my own survivability, but I think I will be going triple orb. Trying to keep our Sierra alive, and as we see our ball low, I'm tempted to put bubble onto them. I'll be putting onto our Cassidy because they're very 1 HP and looked at by a lot of the enemy team. I might get fluxed here. I'm going to be putting myself inside a cage just to try and help the best that I can, or live the best that I can. As we hear Rush come out, I'm going to be trying to play towards it, but I end up just getting blown up by their Sierra. I wanted to try to sack onto my Kiriko to get an easy wave onto them, but since they TP'd to me, it kind of ended up really kind of bad. I think I probably could have played slower on the cage. As their Sigma looks at us, I'm just going to be trying to take this angle. I really don't want to be caught out here by their... Oh! I wanted to continue rotating to try to get away from their Sigma who was walking at us, but unfortunately we didn't have our cooldowns quite yet to deal with their squishies who we ended up having to fight. Definitely we made that map really close, or that round really close. Going 8 and 4, 4,000 damage, 3,000 healing. Maybe I could find some more ways to heal, and maybe I could be taking a little bit more aggressive space on angles. I can try it. I can try it, especially when they're on Sigma. They're not going to have too much mobility to actually sort of chase us down. I could be looking to swing a little bit more and then using my shift more effectively as a get out of jail free card. Not exactly free, but I could be using my mobility a little bit better here. I'm going to Junos bring our team out and then swap to Wuyang. Just because I have my own rushing torrent, I want my team to get into the fight a little bit earlier. I think I will take high ground. Just putting myself in spots to potentially find some waves onto my team if they need it. I don't know if I can make that jump actually. That'd be good for me to know. So as their Sierra walks onto us, we're just going to wave and boop them back. Wave is going to be a really important tool for Wuyang players in their 1v1s and their duels, because booping somebody who wants to be on top of you away with wave is going to make it so that you they're inside of like your actual effective range. Since you need to be a certain distance to let your orbs proc. I'm going to be playing a little bit closer here just because our Kiriko went down, so we're going to be needing to heal a little bit more. I don't have my wave to really help out our Cassie, so I'm just going to be back in, maybe taking the space that the enemy team is not playing on the map, waving my ball to get them back into this fight, but I was not carrying the Cassidy respawn. I was just carrying the other people that I actually saw on the map, and we will be dying to that. If I was a little bit more attentive to their respawns and who actually died, we wouldn't have gone down there. So our ball will be going down here. Our Sierra's chilling main. There's Lucio's main, their Cassie's main. I think taking some high ground here is going to be really good, especially... Oh, their Sig has a float park, huh? High ground might be a little bit more difficult. I might try to take this bottom left area. Oh, Sigma doesn't have a float park. They just walked up there. Alright, sick. So I'm just going to take this high ground, pocketing our Cassidy, ready to wave them if needed. I think that might have been a greedy wave, but I was really worried about the rest of their team sort of shooting out our Cassidy. So Lucio's walking on this main area, and we will be winning this fight. Very chill. I'm just gonna be poking up a bit to try and find any kills I can on to them. Any kills or any damage early is gonna be really nice to have. Using some of my healing resources, make sure that my team is able to get back into this fight as much as or as quickly as they can. They are on Ana now, so I can be probably stepping a little bit on Ana and Lucio. If they're on a bottom left, I can't put my orb onto our ball, but I do have my bubble in a moment here, so whoever gets like super pressured on my team, I'll probably just throw a bubble onto them. I'm grabbing this Mega here. I'm trying to kill their Ana. As their Sigma steps onto me though, they're going to be falling very low, and it's going to open up opportunities for our team. Their Sigma Super 1 and should just die as they try to pop flux there. Yep. We will be maybe closing out this round. We do have a rush. Ideally I want to see our rush on the points, just to guarantee that we win. Since they're down their Sigma, they're down their tank, they won't actually have that much HP to really stand on the point. Trying my wave to try to... Ana died. I didn't even see. I think this is on the point. I hear the Noon still main, and I really don't want to be peeking that, so I'm just chilling. Nice. And we will be making this game 1-1. I think that overall we're playing pretty decent. We're pumping in the damage numbers where we need to, and we're healing up the people when we can. Generally though, I think that maybe I could be using my wave a bit better. I think that I might be using wave a little bit too loosely here. I could try to save it for my own survival or my team's a little bit more effectively. I've just been kind of missing it. It's a pretty slow projectile on the ground and can be difficult to really hit.
Just go with the flow.
But no excuses, I could definitely be looking for it. Looks like it kind of does, yeah. It does look like Shin Jambong. So they're back on the Sigma, Lucio. We're going to be finding a really nice early kill onto their team. So I'm just going to be taking this right side, I think, trying to kill our Sierra as I do. But I just want to be taking away map space that the enemy team is kind of on, as I have both of my cooldowns. This allows me to poke a little bit more aggressively and easier, as well as they're going to have to force me out if they want to actually be fighting in the space. We're just not going to give it to them for free. And as soon as we have opportunities to take a bit more space, and when we have our cooldowns to really be safe, we're going to try to step on that area, but as our Kiriko goes down, it's going to be chilling. We need to be we're going to be the main healer for our supports right now, or for our DPS right now. So we just want to make sure that we're chilling in this main area. Sigma's walking on this left side, and my Sierra falls very 1 HP, but unfortunately I do not keep them up. Trying to find the kill onto this Cassidy. Throwing up my ball and my Cassidy. Keeping orb on my Cassidy here, but I want to be poking them out since it's... Oh, peek me, peek me. Giving myself a little bit of extra healing with my wave to try and live here. My ball is stalling points the best that they can, so I'm just going to be trying to heal them up and taking this angle again. As a dude, I can't do anything from this angle, so I'm going to be putting myself in a spot to live the best that I can, so I'm able to continue looking for these plays. Looking for more damage onto there. They pop their M-Ray. Our Sierra's just going to take it out, damn. I guess if we hit the skill shot, it's just really good at M-Ray. That makes sense. And then Lucio will be going down, and we will be claiming this point back. I think that going into this next fight, since I have my bubble, they have flux. So I might be wanting to put myself in a spot where I'm able to bubble anyone who gets flux. I'm just going to walk up here, I think. I see my Kiriko low, so I'm just going to back up and make sure that they don't die. Okay. Just poking in, shoving all the damage that we can into their team. As soon as like their Cassie hits a shot on me, I'm just gonna back. Really kind of bad micro that I had there. I was jumping a little bit too much. So their Sigma's gonna flex inside of our LOS, which is gonna be really hard for them because we do a bunch of damage if we're left unmarked. So we're just going to be able to completely shred them. We hear Genji left side. No, it's Tracer. And we will be winning that game. We got our Wuyang game in. Ending 17-6, 8,000 damage. Going to be very good, like solid. I think that we definitely could have played a little bit better micro-wise. I think that generally my ideas were fine, but we were denying the enemy team of a lot of space. We were getting our damage in effectively in most of the fights and trying to keep up everyone who we could. As soon as we got onto like a pretty good comp for us, I think that things were going to be looking our way. Our CR played really well. Why do they have a leave button? Why would you have a leave game button if it doesn't work? Getting up to Diamond 2, 70% here. Pretty awesome. We've been on winning trend for quite a while on our support, if I remember. I think that we just recently lost our first game. Yes. So as we continue to build our winning trend, I'm pretty sure that it allows us to gain more SR per win, but I'm not sure on that. Have I considered making a new account where I have limited hero pools set for the account? Yes, I will definitely be doing that somewhat in the future. Ideally, I really wanted to make it today. I don't know if I'll have the time though, but I really want to. I have an essay video, an essay style video that I want to make soon. It's just kind of talked about if you want to be like genuinely really good at this game, if you want to be improving the fastest that you can, one trick, dead ass, like one trick. Especially if you're in some of the lower ranks or you're new to the game, just have like 1 to 3 heroes that you really like enjoy playing, and have like similar ideas tied to them. So if you really like flanking, if you really like pressuring the enemy team, heroes like Tracer, Genji, Onion, or Onron are going to be like a really good like trio that you could sort of like lean into. Or if you want to be like sort of a ground tank, like a Risa, Mauga, like a Sigma or something would be like a really good trio to have. But if you are able to have a smaller hero pool, so you're actually able to focus on the execution of your ideas, it's going to allow you to actually develop your skills as a general and overall player like way quicker than if you're trying to like flex every game. I do it for this series because I have a gazillion hours in Overwatch. And I just want to be able to showcase all of the heroes that people like. Hey, Cordy. More in depth with specific heroes, giving actual well thought out principles of how to play each one of them. Yeah, that could be super fun. I do want to make some like hero guides pretty soon. On my to-do list, or like my video to-do list, I really want to make like a definitive Winston guide. That'd be kind of fun. I love Winston or Wrecking Ball, Tracer. Though I know that like there are quite a few pretty good guides out there for individual heroes. But I do want to sort of like give my take on it, or at least if I don't do specific heroes, I'll talk about specific concepts, and I'll mention which heroes play into the concepts I talk about a lot. Like for the episode that went out today about where I played Diva in the first game, I talked a lot about how pressuring the enemy team's backline will open up or create weak space inside, or if the enemy tank is inside your team and you pressure their backline, it means that they're going to have a lot less healing. Their tank is going to be gradually losing their HP, and there's going to be a weak spot on the map that you can punish. And there are a lot of heroes that sort of like that concept applies to very frequently. I mean, overall, it's a concept that applies to Overwatch, but like heroes like Diva, Wrecking Ball, Winston, Tracer, Genji, Onion, somewhat Data, somewhat Venture, anything with like high mobility, like any heroes with high mobility, it's a really, really important concept to really understand, because most of the time, Blizzard can't give a hero with high mobility insane damage numbers, right? It'd just be broken. It'd just be insanely broken. So you need to understand exactly what value your mobility is creating for you and your team, because that's where that's going to be how you carry games. Using your mobility to create weak spots on the map is essentially kind of like using raw damage numbers to create the weak spot on the map. It's just a little less direct. Looking like it's going to be Wuyang here. Good map. I can play basically anything. Maybe I can try to get another Lucio map in. And it's really easy to find so many resources on individual characters, i.e. coaching VODs, but a bit less so on generalized concepts in team play. Yes, I absolutely agree. There are not many people who talk about generalized concepts. And if they do, then it's they're going to be a little bit rarer. I think especially on YouTube, just generally because they're harder to market. Like, it's hard to make like a thumbnail about like weak lanes on the map, you know, but you can make a thumbnail really easily about like how to play Winston. But also, not many people actually give it that much thought. A lot of people like to think how to play one hero and not general concepts that apply to all of Overwatch. Yeah, I definitely want to be doing concepts for video. It doesn't even necessarily, it might not even necessarily be about gameplay. In my to-do list, I have a video. The first video I want to get up soon is the one tricking his OP. Like one trick the hyperflex. Looking like a BAP angle, maybe. I want to talk about the mentality to really approach just esports in general, games in general, if you want to be improving at games. Hazard, I think it might be even a Curie. BAP wouldn't be bad. I think Curie is best though. I haven't played. I get Moira. Oh, I get Moira. Oh, okay. So idea behind Moira here is that, especially with our Hazard, we're putting like a bunch into our Hazard right here. It's been a second since I played Moira. Oh my god, our Theo is just blowing up. But it's gonna enable our Hazard to be playing very, very aggressively. We're gonna have some pretty high healing numbers, and we should be able to open up some space on the map. Every time that we see their Winston do something, and knowing that they're not going to be able to like, actually pressure us out, is going to be pretty good. So I'm going to try to keep my Sierra up here. We're going to be able to do that. We're just trying generally to heal, but keeping in mind like when we can actually be going for some of our plays. So D.Va goes in, so as soon as my Sierra goes down, I just want to be making sure I keep everyone alive who I can. Tracer's on this right side. With Moira especially, you don't actually have to be that afraid of Tracer, but you should be afraid of D.Va a bit. Making sure that you get a little bit of a melee in before you fade can be pretty good value or a good habit to get going on Moira. I'm going to try to get out here. It's going to be kind of hard to do so, but we are going to be able to bait them towards that outside lane and then use our fade to really get out. We're farming a pretty fast combo. I'm not actually able to get all the damage that I want in, and I might just have to play Kiriko, unfortunately. Our fights are going a little bit too long for us to really do stuff. My Life Weaver is fighting with our Sierra, so I'm just going to be helping my Tracer and my Tracer lane. Keeping an eye on my Wuyang, wondering if I should be playing for that, and I don't think that I should. I think it's a winnable game, a winnable fight, so I'm just going to be popping my Cole, trying to keep up our hazard the best that I can. As a D.Va flies on me, I'll be trying to chill, but Moira's just going to be too hard here. Yeah, maybe Pupper could win this game, but I don't have the hours on Moira at least. And I think that my team just needs a little bit too much healing. With Moira, since you're going to be having some of the best like actual raw like heals per second, but you're not going to have that much you're not going to have like resources to play for it that much. It's going to be kind of important to get good flanks off. If the Tracer steps onto me, my Life Weaver is carrying me, so it's a really risky TP Suzu there, but I think that if my Hazard dies, it just tends to lose the fight. Kiriko is definitely the right play into their comp, and it's going to make things a lot easier, but it might just be a little bit too late. They're going to be having a lot of their ults coming up here. And I don't know exactly how I'm going to be able to play around this. Since we're at such an insane disadvantage, we want to be looking somewhat for a miracle play. Oh, they ate the kunai that I was going to hit. Oh well, all good. I tried out Moira and I don't think that it was the strongest. We're playing a little bit too slowly, as well as they were just sort of like stepping on angles very well, and we weren't getting active on the weak spots on the map enough for Moira to work. Maybe I could have played a little bit more for my solo value and just played like a flanking sort of style Moira.
If we do this right, they won't even know what happened.
But I'm not completely confident in that, so I don't really want to showcase it. Kiriko is definitely a safe pick here. We're on D.Va now. D.Va Brig. I don't really want Juno. I don't think other things are going to be really amazing here. I could maybe try Wuyang again, but I think Wuyang is actually really, really difficult into D.Va because they're able to eat all of your orbs super easily. And since their D.Va was doing quite a bit, I don't want to force that. Kiriko's just going to be the safe play. I see a Tracer on this left side, and I'm just going to be looking for my TP here. Trying to get onto the point. I'll make it as difficult as possible to kill me, but us TPing out unfortunately will leave our cast a bit stranded. I'm just giving up map space and we're ending up really split. I'm wondering how I can fix that. Tracer's on this left side, so I'm going to go onto this high ground, make it as hard as possible for the Tracer to find any real damage onto me, so I'm able to continue doing my job. I could have fought her maybe, but now that my Brig's doing that, I definitely can just sort of be pumping in my heals. Noting that my castle split can help them out with that D.Va on the lane. And we're going to be winning that fight. Main key thing there is just making sure if we have a job to do, trying to make it as difficult for the enemy team as possible to stop us from doing that job. So if their tracer flanking onto me, if I turned around and shot them when my team was fighting on front line, it would mean that we wouldn't have our healing nearly as easily on the front line. Oh, I'd really like if my D.Va backed up. I'm gonna pop in Suzu. If they commit here, I'm gonna be popping my rush. I want to see them commit a little more. We're gonna be popping rally instead. I think this will be the plan. I could go the speed Suzu here. I think that'd be really good. Especially since we don't have like a Lucio or Juno ourselves. So speed boost could help us kite out some pretty rough situation. But I made a full video, or I made the thumbnail and title of the video why I like this perk. Thinking about our rush here, I want to be using it to sort of negate some of their team's like really big aggression. So I'm going to be playing sort of safe here and pretty chill and further back. So Dominus steps up main. There's going to be a really good rush opportunity if our D.Va's here. Our Genji, we don't want to be fighting or going to the point. We want to be keeping up our Genji. Because even if we give up the point flip, because we're just killing so many people, it's going to make it impossible or really, really difficult at least for them to win once we turn around and get back on the point. I mean, Tracer's going to get the best touches in the world. Hello? Hello? Yo, that's the best player ever. Alright, they will go down eventually. But we will be winning that game. Anytime that there's going to be like a final fight, when you're defending on Koth and the enemy team needs to be touching, you're going to be having two options. Generally, you want to commit into their spawn and just turn around and win the point back later. You generally don't want to do that into higher mobility comps. Or you can just poke them out as much as you can early and then actually take the fight and commit onto the point. Because they were on Domina, because they weren't on any mobile heroes to really like actually sort of kite out of our rush or live our rush, I just want to pop my rush early on the choke there and blow up their Domina so that they wouldn't be able to have a proper brawl on the point once we turned around. So they're in Reinhardt, so we want to be playing a little bit more on these high grounds. So Reinhardt, Kiriko, Tracer, so I'm going to be TPing and just carrying our Cassidy the best way I can. Our Brig goes down. Yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is. Our D.Va falls low HP, but so does our Reinhardt. Unfortunately, I'm forced to turn for that Tracer. I'm just going to be poking out their team the best that I can. As the Reinhardt has their shield up, it's going to be kind of hard to find value through our kunais in that fashion. I'm looking for kunais onto their backline, and I think that I need to start flanking a bit more. We're not going to be winning front to back fights because they're on that Reinhardt. They're going to be able to hold their right click. They're going to sort of be able to swing onto our D.Va. So I need to start opening through our lanes. It's going to be a little bit harder on our D.Va, but we just saw from like those past two fights, we're not going to be able to win through that lane or through that way. So we want to start getting active with our flanks and our steps. Unfortunately, I'm going to both go critical, so I'm just going to TP back and just rush main to open up this fight. Turbo pocketing my D.Va. Really sucks, but I don't think that we're going to be able to break choke out anyway if I didn't rush. My Brig's walking up onto the Reinhardt. My Cassidy falls low. I'm just trying to keep everyone up the best that I can. They pop their rush and they're going to be stepping off of that. And we will be going down. Wondering if a swap is in order here. My Brig pops rally. I'm wondering how the fight's going. That might determine if I swap or not. And I think that we might be winning that. Me and our cast are on our way back, but we have our rally on the point. So I'm going to be sticking Kiriko because defending is going to be a little bit easier for us to play around. Because we're going to have naturally, we're going to have our setup sort of given to us because we are on defense and they have to walk into us. going to be a little bit easier to get these angles set up, but if we were in still needing to attack, it might be a little bit harder. Unfortunately, I do not have my Suzu for that. I really need to keep this guy up. They have their Earth Shatter, which I really should be careful about. Trying to get them to force me here before I actually TP out. As the Reinhardt goes in, I want to be putting myself in the spot to make it difficult to shatter. No, I really wanted that melee off. But we are able to force out their Earth Shatter. We have our Kitsune Rush online, we have our Noon online. This is going to be the last point and the last chance for us to be able to win. Alright. Huh. So we need to make something happen now. We are able to, fortunately. They don't have that Earth Shatter yet. I really want to deny this res. We find a nice headshot onto their Tracer. I'm really scared about my Brig dying there. The Cassie's really close, and it looks like I'm kind of the only one who's able to sort of win these duels against the Cassie on my team. So I might actually just be kind of like seeking him out almost. Really need to be making something happen. They're pretty close to Shadow again. I don't think that they have it quite yet. My soul. That's really bad. Bomb coming out to try and silence their Kitsune Rush. And I don't have my Suzu, but my Onion's going to be the GOAT. I live anyways. Unfortunately, we will be going down because their Cassie throws a flash and their Tracer is able to follow up on it, and we will be losing our second game on support. Definitely sucks. I think that I did all that I could. Maybe I could have stacked main to try to keep my diva up after they threw bomb into rush, but I didn't know that they were going to do that, and then by the time that bomb actually went off, TPing in would have kind of guaranteed my death. So, definitely sucks. But, no problem whatsoever. What time is it? It's 10? Okay. And for my YouTube audience, that will probably be the end of this episode. I'll be queuing some DPS now, so you guys will see that tomorrow. But, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.